Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to ITV's Medicine of the Prophet, your guide to healthy living. This is episode 19 of 20 episodes. It's our penultimate episode. I'm your host Farouk Hussein, and in today's episode we'll be looking at afflictions from the unseen or ghaib. In this episode, we'll be looking at questions and concepts like jinn, witchcraft or sihr, and the evil eye from envy. This episode will raise and try to answer questions on how might afflictions from the unseen, the jinn, witchcraft, sihr, and the evil eye from envy affect one? What might be the world of jinn? How is witchcraft practiced? And what might be the effects from the evil eye? And what advice can be gleaned on protecting and treating oneself from the afflictions of the unseen? And why should one always recognize that everything is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? To discuss this topic, I'm joined in the studio by Professor Rashid Bhika and our guest, Dr. Maulana Ashraf Dokrat. Maulana Ashraf Dokrat, welcome again. It's good to have you in the final 2 episodes. You started off our program, our range of episodes, and so welcome again. Ahlan wa sahlan. So, I should like to in this segment, folks, look at the different types of afflictions, as I've said earlier on, that can arise from the world of the unseen or the ghaib. Let me draw in Professor Bhika for our first question and ask Professor Bhika. Now, Prof, what is the relevance of the unseen world in prophetic medicine?
Farouk, Jazakallah khair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Having developed the program to a large extent on Tibb al-Nabawi, in both books of Ibn Qayyim and Abdul Rahman Sayyuti, the mention and the importance of the world of the unseen or ghaib has been emphasized. And I thought it would be absolutely amiss if we do not include an episode on this particular area. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I'm not an expert in the field at all, and so I'm very pleased that Sheikh Ashraf has joined us, and also we've got the input from a very close friend of ours, Maulana Ahmad Limbada, and I think these people will provide most of the questions that we hope to discuss, inshallah.
Inshallah. Wonderful. Let me now draw in Dr. and Maulana Ashraf Dokrat and ask the question, sir. Recognizing that many of us as Muslims we either believe too much or otherwise too little in the unseen world. What is the relevance of the unseen in terms of our iman?
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Jinn, sihr, which translates may perhaps as black magic, sorcery, or witchcraft, and the existence of the evil eye that you alluded to early on, what we call the ayn, al-ayn, is really an irrefutable reality. If we look at the Quran, the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Ahadith, then they all point to the existence of these concepts in an irrefutable type of way. And there's no scope, therefore, for denying its reality. When we turn to the classical books of Aqidah, theology and dogma, then they are very clear on the issue. They all express the fact that we have to accept as believers the existence of the jinn. We have to accept the existence of something called sihr and sorcery and witchcraft, and we have to accept the existence of al-ayn, the eye, the evil eye, as it is called by some people. So from the point of Aqidah, there is no getting away from the fact that it is essential for us to accept this. And there is irrefutable and overwhelming proof for this. However, this said, this does not mean, Farouk, that every mishap, difficulty, and every type of calamity that befalls us in the normal course of our lives should be attributed to sihr or to the evil eye or to some unseen type of force. Everything that happens to us is due to the natural cause, and these causes and effects are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in the world of the unseen, whatever happens in the world of the unseen is also by means of cause and effect. Except that in this realm, we do not see and we do not appreciate that cause and effect as we do in the physical realm that we know. Unscrupulous charlatans and fakes and quacks and frauds have succeeded to corrupt the minds of the masses and even sometimes so-called learned people, and they then feel that every affliction or every calamity that befalls them in their lives is as an effect of sihr and jinn and the evil eye. So yes, it is a belief, and no, it should never be an obsession for the true believer at any time.
Thank you for sharing those insights, Sheikh Ashraf Dokrat. We now have a short clip for you which expands on the idea that was proffered by Sheikh Dokrat. The external footage has Sheikh Ahmed Limbada sharing his insights on the world of jinn.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The world of jinn. The jinn were created long before Adam alayhi salam. It is mentioned in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Holy Quran that Adam alayhi salam, when he was created, when the jinn were ordered and commanded to bow down to Adam alayhi salam, Shaitan refused to bow down to Adam alayhi salam, and the Quran says he was from amongst the jinn, which means that the jinn were created long before Adam alayhi salam, and they dwelt on earth. Whilst they were on earth, they began to be rebellious, and they behaved immorally, shedding the blood of one another, fighting amongst themselves, misbehaving, and shedding blood like anything. Thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the angels to come down on earth and do away with a vast number of jinns. A vast number of jinns were slain by the angels. Thereafter, Adam alayhi salam was sent down to earth, Shaitan as well, and the Quran refers to the followers of Shaitan as the offspring of Shaitan. And the plural term in Arabic is ash-shayateen, meaning many shaitans. So the followers of Shaitan, who are among the jinn, they are referred to as ash-shayateen. In other words, devils, demons, and the like. These jinns on earth reside in remote places. They dwell on trees, they dwell in caves, and also they dwell in some of the dwellings of people. By nature, the jinn is prone to evil and very rebellious, prone and inclined to do mischief. Unlike the human being, who is prone to do good unless he has been led astray. The jinn are very wicked, and that is why, by nature, they are inclined to do everything wicked. They are inclined to engage in sorcery and all other shameless acts. They can influence us human beings. Among them, we have the good and the bad. there are amongst the good ones, as we have been informed in the Holy Quran, they heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recite the Quran. They remained silent and listened very, very attentively to that. And in their own words, we are told in the Holy Quran, they said, "We have heard a wonderful Quran, the recitation of a wonderful Quran, which invites towards righteousness. Among us are those who are righteous, and among us are those who are evil and wicked. And we have accepted the guidance of the Holy Quran, and we shall never ever ascribe partners to our Lord, who is one and the only."
Sheikh Ahmed Lambada, a living encyclopedia sharing his rich resource of scholarly and spiritual insights on the world of jinn. May Allah grant him a high status in both worlds. Moving on then, we'll be going for an ad break now, and still to come in the next segment, we'll be looking at guidelines on accessing and seeking spiritual healing for both the body and the soul. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're with ITV's Medicine of the Prophet, your guide to healthy living. In the studio with me is Professor Rashid Bhika and well-known academic and scholar Maulana Dr. Ashraf Dokrat. Just to remind you that we're discussing afflictions from the unseen. In this segment, we'll be focusing on sihr or witchcraft and the evil eye or envy. Let me draw in Professor Rashid Bhika quickly and ask, Prof, what is witchcraft and how long has it been practiced? Is it unique to our culture?
You know, there's absolutely no doubt that, I mean, from the days of, in fact, Mullah Limbari in his previous clip mentioned that, you know, the world of jinn was long before Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was created. So obviously, witchcraft was something that was prevalent thousands of years in all cultures, you know, so it's nothing new at all. Definitely it was practiced throughout history.
Wonderful. We have for you another clip, folks, which expands on that idea. The external footage has the learned Sheikh Ahmed Lambada again sharing his insights on so-called witchcraft and how one can practice the craft of the unseen, but within the context of the Quran and Hadith.
Witchcraft and what it entails and how it is practiced. We Muslims know very well that witchcraft originates from shaitan. It is shaitan and his followers, the shayateen, the devils and the demons, who have started this practice and continue at all times to practice witchcraft, and they have influenced the human beings to the extent that you find human beings also learning this wicked practice. In the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very, very clear that during the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, they had come down, or they were sent down on earth, two angels, Harut and Marut. They had come down as a trial. They were teaching witchcraft, but they had warned the people, human beings and the jinns. What we are teaching is witchcraft, and it is an act of kufr. So beware and do not follow this practice. Do not engage in this practice. We are here as a trial, and you should not endanger your iman by following us and engaging in this practice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear in Surah Al-Baqarah that Sulaiman alayhi salam did not engage in this. It was the shayateen, that is the followers of shaitan and shaitan, who had taught human beings about witchcraft. Witchcraft entails handling of the most filthiest of things on earth. A person who would learn witchcraft would have to undergo training to the extent that he has to even consume the most filthiest of things that are on earth. And that witchcraft is learned, and thereafter it is practiced in order that they may harm the innocent people. And they find joy in it. Witchcraft is a very, very detrimental thing. And it leads a person to become corrupt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has warned us in the Holy Quran. O people, engaging in witchcraft is a serious matter. It is called ar-rijsu. Ar-rijsu means filth and those acts which lead to great punishment. So this explains how dangerous witchcraft is.
Sheikh Ahmed Limbada, fascinating and intriguing stuff. A craft of deep and abiding unseen mystery, not to be trifled with by mere mortals. Moving on then, I want to draw in Dr. Maulana Ashraf Dokrat with the question on, the evil eye. Tell us, Maulana Dokrat, about the evil eye.
Yes, Farooq, the first thing that we need to remember is that the evil eye is real. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that the evil eye is real, and if there was anything that could overtake qadr, destiny and decree, it would be the evil eye. Imam Bukhari, in fact, has a chapter heading where he says, Al-aynu haqqun, that the evil eye is a reality. And he quotes a hadith from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, who states that Al-aynu haqqun wa naha Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that means Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prohibited al-washmi. And so what this means is that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that the evil eye is a reality, and he prevented sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from tattooing. The next thing that we need to know about the evil eye is that the evil eye comes from people who are envious and who are jealous. Ulama explains that everyone who gives the evil eye is jealous, but not everyone who is jealous gives the evil eye. In a hadith it is mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has used the words أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة, that I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from every min kulli shaytanin, from every shaitan, wahama. And the ulama explained that the meaning of hamma means that we are seeking protection from every venomous and poisonous type of animal. At the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that we are seeking protection from aynul lamma, every eye that is envious. So we see that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has taught us to seek refuge from the evil eye or the eye that is envious. The third thing that we need to remember is that although it is correct that the evil eye comes from people who feel jealous, at times it can come from a person who is not jealous. Because the hadith says that whoever amongst you sees something in himself or in his possessions or in his brother that he likes, let him pray for the blessing for that, for the evil eye is real. So this would imply that a person can harm himself even, his own wealth, his own possession, his own children with the evil eye. Another teaching that we need to make reference to here, and perhaps listeners or our viewers need to ask and inquire from the local scholars about this, is that according to Sharia, whoever has the eye should do ghusl and should take a ritual purity, a bath, for the person who has been affected by it. We have it from reliable sources that during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, an incident occurred where a companion of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam inadvertently cast such an evil eye on another companion. And the companion, Sahal ibn Hunayf radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was afflicted with this, was asked by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam then to take a bath with the water that the other companion had used to perform a ghusl with. So we see that this is also an aspect that we need to keep in mind when dealing with the question of the evil eye.
Fascinating. And we seek refuge, of course, in our merciful Allah against the evil eye. Still to come. In the next episode or segment, we'll be looking at ways of protecting ourselves from the afflictions of the unseen, as well as seeking treatment when affected. We'll continue this discussion immediately after the break, and we'll be with you soon. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching ITV's program Medicine of the Prophet, your guide to healthy living. I'm your host Farooq Hussain, and with me in the studio is Professor Rashid Bhika and well-known scholar and academic and writer Dr. Maulana Ashraf Dokrat. Just a quick reminder, folks, that we are looking in this segment on ways of protecting ourselves from the afflictions of the unseen, as well as the seeking of treatment when affected. Now, I want to draw in Dr. Ashraf Dokrat here, Maulana Dokrat, and ask, Maulana Dokrat, what is the view of among scholars from an Aqidah or belief point of view on the use of amulets or ta'weez?
Thank you for the question, Farooq. I think before we go there, we need to define what a ta'weez is or an amulet is.
Yes.
This is usually a small ornament or a trinket, a piece of jewelry that contains inscriptions covered usually by some cloth that is thought to protect then the wearer against evil, against danger, against disease. So this, at some time, in the time of the Prophet, for example, there was a common practice among the Arabs that they would use seashells or other types of ornaments to that they would hang then around the neck, on the arm, or on the thigh, etc. And this was thought to protect against evil and serve as a cure. Now, in terms of your question, scholars differ with regards to the issue of the use of amulets. There are those who regard it as impermissible and liken it to shirk and polytheism. They take their support from some traditions, such as a tradition narrated from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala, where he says he heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that ruqya, amulets, that is ta'weez, and these love charms are shirk. Another tradition on the authority of Uqba ibn Amir states that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever wears an amulet, may Allah not fulfill his need. And whoever wears a seashell, may Allah not give him peace. In fact, they also then cite some very, very prominent ulama and scholars who support their view, including people like Ibn Mas'ud, Sayyidina Huzaifa radiallahu ta'ala, etc. The later authorities, among them Ibrahim al-Nakhai, who was the teacher of Imam Abu Hanifa, is quoted to have said that the early generation كانوا يكرهون التمائم كلها من القرآن وغير القرآن, that the early generation of scholars used to dislike the use of tamaim, and tamaim here refers to these ta'weez, either from the Quran or from sources other than the Quran. Those scholars who support the use of ta'weez and amulets famously quote a tradition of Ibn Abi Shayba, which is transmitted in his Musannaf, from Amr ibn Shu'aib, from his father, from his grandfather, who said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said that when one becomes fearful in his sleep, he should recite the dua that Bismillahi a'udhu bi kalimatillahi tammati min ghadabihi wa iqabihi wa sharri ibadihi wa min hamazati shayateen wa ay yahdurun. That is, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, I seek refuge with the complete words of Allah ta'ala from His anger, His punishment, and the evil of His slaves, and from the evil suggestions of the shaitan, and from their being present at the time of death perhaps. So Abdullah ibn Umar, the narrator of this hadith, would teach the words to his children, and those who could not remember it and would then he would write it for them and hang it around their necks. So this then becomes support for those people who allow for the use of ta'weed.
Now I'd like to draw in Sheikh Ashraf Dokrat and ask for some closing comments on this topic.
Yes, I think one can never overemphasize the importance of living a good Islamic life, and this ensures then the protection and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Sunnah is replete with advices of what we should read and how we should regulate our life.
Professor Bhika, any closing comments, sir?
Whilst the world of an unseen is a reality, but the greater reality is that ultimately Allah Ta'ala is in control of everything.
Alhamdulillah, gentlemen, you've been great scholars, and you've lived the first revelation, which is read in the name of the Lord that has created you. And I should now like to also do what Allah asked us to do, which is to give gifts to our scholars. And I have for you 2 books that will have Allah's names in. And may I remind the viewers that, Allah does, our merciful Allah says to us that if you are urged by temptation from Satan, seek refuge in Allah alone. Now, in summary, we've looked at the following concepts in this episode. Acceptance of the unseen world is part of our belief or iman. Reading appropriate du'as or zikr protect us from the afflictions of the unseen. And whilst the world of the unseen can affect us, it can only happen with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree. Now, folks, in the next and final episode, we'll discuss spiritual healing in Medicine of the Prophet, your guide to healthy living. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.